Are you deathly afraid of public speaking? Then this video is for you. I am an experienced public speaker. I've spoken at conferences, events, webinars, and I am here to tell you my 5 tips for public speaking, both to make your speaking better and to make you feel better about it. My name is Lizzie. I am a coach with HerBoldLife Coaching. Thank you for watching. I read a statistic recently that when people are polled about the things that they are most afraid of, public speaking generally ranks higher than death. It doesn't have to be this way. The first thing we need to pay attention to is your voice. Is it loud enough? And what speed are you talking at? Nobody wants fast forward on their public speaker. So you need to really project your voice, talk louder than you think you need to. And this is something that's going to come up a few times in this video. Ask your audience if you are not sure if you're talking loud enough or if the microphone is working. Say, hey, everybody in the back, I just want to make sure my volume's okay. Can I get a show of hands if you can hear me? Not only does that either tell you you need to talk louder or hopefully calm your nerves and reassure you that you're talking loud enough, it also connects you with your audience, who's just people who also ranked public speaking as scarier to them than death. So just remember, you can talk to them, you can ask them if they can hear you or not. Don't make them yell it at you. Give them a chance. And you can also say, if at any time my volume gets too low, please somebody just wave your hand at me and let me know. That keeps them engaged, that keeps them listening, and they feel like they're in it with you, and you feel like you're in it with them. So that is a good thing. Tempo. Make sure you are talking slow enough. And this is something that takes mindfulness. Many of the tips that we're going to talk about do take mindfulness, which being mindful in a stressful situation takes practice. We're going to talk more about that mindset shift at the end. So make sure you stick around for that. Most of us talk too fast when we are nervous. So just take a conscious effort to talk slowly, to pronounce every single word, and this will automatically slow you down to a tempo that your audience can understand. You see, I was just doing it right there. Hands and feet. Be mindful of your hands and feet. We've all seen that presentation where somebody is just constantly doing this with their hand, or their hands, they're toying with their shirt, or they're messing with their earrings or their hair. It's okay to do that sometimes, but you don't want to be doing that all the time because it is distracting and it takes away from what you're saying, and the audience will start to think, wow, they've been doing that with their hands the entire time, and then that's what they're thinking about instead of the very important messages that you're delivering to them. Pay attention to your feet as well if you are standing up or if you're sitting down. Are you moving from one foot to the other all the time? Are you tapping your foot on the ground or bouncing your knee? These things can detract from your concentration and from your audience's concentration. So how do you fix this? This is a grounding exercise. What are my feet doing? My feet both feel the floor. I am paying attention to which leg I'm standing on. My hands are mindfully placed on the podium or on the desk or in my lap or clasped. You can pick a position that you want to put your hands in and your feet in. And then anytime you pay attention to what your hands and feet are doing and they're not where you were planning for them to be, you can just calmly return them to that position. And over time, this will get easier. So the tip here is be mindful of what your hands and feet are doing and already figure out, how do I want to have them so that they are not moving and being very distracting. Another thing to pay attention to with hands and feet is shaking. So, I mean, I don't care how many presentations you've done, you're gonna get nervous, and that is okay. Being nervous is good. It means you're trying something new, but it doesn't help when you're holding a microphone and you see your own hand shaking, and you know the audience can see your hand shaking, and then you go down that dark spiral of, oh my gosh, they know how nervous I am. That's so embarrassing. What I have done in this situation is, if I'm sitting down, I set the microphone on the desk or the table where I am sitting. So the bottom of the microphone is stable and I'm not holding it up with my shaking hand. The other thing you can do if you're standing with the microphone is kind of just tuck your arm in to your side. Don't hold it out here. Tuck it in, stabilize it, maybe pull your hand in closer to your chest with the microphone. Will not only stabilize your hand, but will make sure the microphone stays in a good place. Because if you're not doing that, it's easy for the microphone to just, sink down until it's useless. The third thing is practice and study. So, practice, of course. You should have run through your speech at least a handful of times and have timed it before you do it, because you don't want to be figuring out if this tangent takes way too long or this just doesn't sound right in the middle of your presentation. Your co-panelists will thank you, your audience will thank you, and your nervous self in the middle of your presentation will be so thankful that there's some muscle memory there to come back to when you are nervous and in front of a crowd. You can just remind yourself, I have done this before. I have done this before. It'll also help you build confidence. The other thing is study. You should be the master of your material. That's why you're presenting on it. Sometimes though, we present on something that is something we've just learned recently or something that we used to be a master of, but we need to do some review for. I just gave a speech about grizzly bear conservation, which I was giving speeches about all year last year. But I haven't looked at some of that material in a long time. So I spent hours studying the material again, because you need to be able to talk about it off the top of your head, but you need to also be prepared for questions. The fourth thing is do not read a script. You should have notes. You should have an outline. You should take advantage of font sizes and bold and underline and highlight to make sure your outline is something that you can quickly glance down at in the middle of your presentation and see what you need to see, and not be scrolling through bunched up size 12 text trying to figure out where you're supposed to be. Make it very clear where your new slides are. I use highlight. I space the sections very widely. I use large text so that I can quickly see it. Even if it's not right in front of my face, I can look down and see it. Your outline should give you the general overview, the things you really need to hit, the points you really need to hit. You should not read a script to your audience. They will know you're reading and it's boring. You are much less likely to have a mixed tone and inflection when you're reading, like you do when you're having a conversation with somebody. If you're too rehearsed and you're reading your script, your audience is going to fall asleep. So have your notes, hit the major points, and be a master of your material and have practiced it so that when you're up there, you can embellish on things. You can talk about an example in a way that's not scripted, but you can plan to talk about that example, but it doesn't need to be totally scripted out. Give yourself the opportunity to be a human being and have a discussion. Create a conversation with your audience instead of reading them a book. They will thank you. And the last thing is mindset. Public speaking doesn't have to be the scariest thing in our lives. It is scary, and that's okay. A mistake that I think we make a lot is to feel the nerves and feel the fear and say to ourselves, don't be scared. Don't be anxious. Don't be nervous. You're fighting a losing battle. We're just going to be nervous for whatever reason. Human beings get nervous when they get up in front of a crowd and have a bunch of people looking at them and they are talking. You're going to be nervous, and there's nothing wrong with that. Befriend these feelings. Say, hey, fear. Hey, nerves. Hey, anxiety. I see you. It's okay to feel that way. Something I read recently too is that it can be helpful to change it to excitement. Instead of trying to calm down, say, oh, I'm nervous. I'm excited. Get excited, not calm, because you're just not going to be calm. Like I said, you're fighting a losing battle. And you can also prep your mindset ahead of time. So you know your speech is coming, you're practicing for it, you're working on your outline and your notes, you're studying for the material. Prep yourself by using that fear and anxiety to think about what's the worst that could happen. Now, I think the worst that could happen is probably something along the lines of vomiting all over the stage and your co-panelists and then like slipping in it and falling down. There's nothing I could say that would make that better, but it's very unlikely. What's a reasonably likely bad thing that might happen? You might forget what you're talking about. You might get really thirsty and your mouth gets really dry and everybody can tell. You might have a shaky hand. These are all things that you can prepare for. So use the anxiety and figure out, how do I take as much of the mystery and the unpredictable things that might go wrong? How do I make those predictable, or how do I bring those within my control? Make sure you have a cup of water. Practicing helps. Make sure you have that outline and that it's accessible and that you can read it. You can take control of a lot of the things that could go wrong, and then that gives you more freedom to just exist when you're presenting and just be a person and not be like, oh my gosh, I'm anxious about 15 things. You could be anxious about 3 things that there's nothing you can do. They might happen. The other thing too, if you can talk to your audience the whole time. Remember, they are people. If you forget everything you're talking about, you can say to your audience, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just really nervous. Bear with me. I'm just going to take a look at my notes really quickly. I've just totally forgot what I'm talking about. Then you can spend 10, 20 seconds looking at your notes. You can get back on track and you can say, okay, thank you for giving me that pause. This is where I am picking up. Your audience is just people, and you don't have to be perfect. They don't expect you to be perfect. And the more you engage with them as a human being and just kind of share what you're experiencing, the more grace that you can give yourself and the more grace that your audience is going to give you. You can start your talk with, hi, I'm Lizzie. I'm new at public speaking, so I'm a little bit nervous, so bear with me as I talk to you about X, Y, and Z. Just be honest and be upfront, and we want to root for each other for the most part. Hopefully your audience, most of them want to root for you. So give them a chance to, and show them that you're human. The last thing I'm going to say, even though we've already talked about our 5 tips, is that these things take practice. So don't put all this pressure on yourself to be like, okay, next time I give a speech, I'm going to have the perfect outline. I'm going to have practiced it 47 times. I'm going to have it timed perfectly. My hands and feet are going to be perfectly placed. My tone's going to be perfect. My cadence is going to be perfect. It's not going to happen. Maybe when you've been public speaking for years and years and years, these things do get easier. Just try to do 1 or 2. Say, okay, this time I'm really going to try to be loud enough. This time I'm going to make sure my hands are not doing this for the entire time. This time I'm going to try to engage with my audience more. Pick 1 or 2, and then you have succeeded if you've paid attention to 1 or 2 of these things for a few minutes within your presentation. That is a good place to start. And like I said, it will get easier and easier. So say yes to opportunities. If you want to become a better public speaker, the only way to do it is to put yourself out there. Put that pressure on yourself by having a deadline and having a speech and committing to something, so that you have to practice and you have to run through these things, because that is the only way that you're going to get better. I know that public speaking is scary. I have done plenty of it, and I've walked up there with shaky hands and a dry mouth. I have forgotten my topics, and I survived, and so will you, and you will get better. So drop a comment. Let me know if you have other tips that have really worked well for you that we didn't cover. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos on how you can become the best you.